For a few moments, let me transport you to the CIAS University campus in rural China. After a long journey from Kauai to Zhengzhou, I arrived at Peter Hall, my home for 5 weeks. The first person I met was my partner, Maggie, the facilitator for the first year students. Maggie, are you excited to be here? And Maggie says to me, no, not really. I'm not quite sure how I ended up here. I know that they wanted a muralist, but now I'm supposed to teach who knows what, and all I want to do is to paint murals. Maggie, I thought you had help with your lessons. Oh yeah, sort of. The Phoenix director made some PowerPoints, but I didn't pay much attention to that. And Deb, since you seem to know what's going on, you're going to hold my hand the whole time, right? Well, no, Maggie. You're teaching the first year students, and I'm teaching the second year students, and so we probably won't see each other much, except on weekends, when we both teach art. In the next few days, it becomes very apparent that Maggie has short-term memory loss, and that indeed I would be holding her hand. The second person I meet is Diane, the facilitator assigned to orient me. Diane, it's so nice to see you again. I haven't seen you since our training last summer. I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you so that you can, show me the ropes. And Diane says, well, Deb, I can hardly wait to finish my classes so I can just be out of here. If you want, I can show you where the laundry is, but I really don't have energy for anything else. Wow. So much for 5 days of orientation. And then I remembered Mandy, and who was the local program coordinator. And then in the next second, I remembered that Mandy was out of the country. Yikes, I really am on my own here. A few days later, on the first night of class, I patiently wait for the interpreter. No one arrives. I keep looking and looking. So I finally ask Hannah, who's a student interpreter, Hannah, I'm wondering where my interpreter is. And with big wide eyes, Hannah replies, oh, Deb, I'm so sorry that you didn't know that the advanced students are expected to speak English during class. So no, there won't be an interpreter tonight or any other night. Why then had I spent all that time practicing speaking very slowly for my interpreter? I had had an interpreter in the San Diego training, but not in China. After I regrouped, for a welcome ceremony, I gifted each student with a shell lei and introduced them to the word and meaning of aloha, which they loved. And when I was complete with the students, Jerry, who was the only male in the group, took a lei and welcomed me as well. Now this feels better. And then I addressed 19 wide-eyed and expectant faces. Dear students, I am so happy to be here. I want you to know that I'll teach you to present a powerful talk, and we will also be learning to connect our heads and our hearts. And in this moment, I looked out and was struck by the beautiful, beautiful faces in front of me. and the joyous opportunity to have an influence on them. Tears rolled down my cheeks, and I continued anyway. It's just as important to have fun and laugh as it is to learn how to speak in front of an audience. So, starting with the second class, prior to getting to the serious stuff, we either danced to American music that they absolutely loved as well, including YMCA. Who would have thought? Or we had a dialogue about things like their strengths and passions, which they were not used to thinking about, never mind talking about. At the second night of class, I learned that the students had to be prepared to speak about their projects in English to an audience of 800 people. Yes, 800. The week after I left China. Oh my God, we have some work to do. And out went the carefully done PowerPoints. Gone. I asked each student to give their project summary in front of the class, and for each one I leaned forward and listened intently because they were speaking so fast and so softly I couldn't understand them. Upon closer listening, they were all speaking English. The following day, Charity, my very bright and very curious student assistant, asked me to go for a walk under the guise of showing me around campus. As soon as we got outside of Peter Hall, Charity starts peppering me with questions. Deb, you're from the United States. What does freedom mean to you? And what's the most important thing I can do to grow? And do you have some favorite self-help books? And do you believe in coincidences, in fate? That began a beautiful exchange of ideas and viewpoints. We soon discovered that we had the same birthday, December 31st, and that we enjoyed the same TED Talks. Charity soaked up every word, and I never felt so valued and appreciated. And yes, I cried often while I was with her. A couple of weeks into the program, a student named Cassie came to the Friday makeup session looking rather upset. And I asked her if everything was okay. And she starts speaking very fast. I'm so sorry that I wasn't in class yesterday, and I was having a misunderstanding with my roommate, and I really like her, and I was very upset, so I decided to stay and work it out. Good for you, Cassie, that you made a choice to resolve the issue. And since you're here tonight, you won't have missed anything. Cassie looks at me with another set of big, wide eyes. You're not mad? Of course not, Cassie. You can always choose what you want to do. And she says, are you serious? I really do have a choice? I thought that was just some meaningless program slogan. No, Cassie, I mean it. You always have a choice. As the weeks flew by, I continued to be moved by the students, and they got used to my tears, although they teased me often. Fast forward to the week before I was to leave, things had really shifted. Each of the students had worked diligently on making their talks clear and concise, and they practiced and practiced to stand tall, slow way, way down, enunciate, and look at the audience. None of the students looked or sounded the same. Transformation before my very eyes. At the beginning of the last week of classes, I asked the students what they'd like to do to celebrate, and it was unanimous. They wanted to go off to dinner off campus. The morning of the dinner, Mandy, the coordinator, who is now back in China, sends me a text. I want to see you immediately in my office. Now, doesn't that sound like a summons? When I arrived, Mandy asked me to sit down, and she starts, "Deborah, I heard from the students that you are going out to dinner tonight for your last class. You must have the last class in a classroom. It isn't appropriate to celebrate." Now it's my turn for big eyes. "Mandy, the students have completed all the lessons and it's time to celebrate. And I will not disappoint these beautiful souls. We are looking forward to being together." After a long silence, Mandy says, "Well, I can't make you cancel the dinner since I'm not in charge of you." "Yes, Mandy, that's correct. You aren't in charge of me." As it turns out, this was the very first time the students had gone to dinner together in the 2 years that they had been in the program. At the dinner, as a surprise for me, these amazing young people sang the song "Hearts on Fire" in English. This led to a spontaneous song fest in both English and Mandarin. Even though I couldn't understand Mandarin, I could certainly feel their beautiful and warm hearts. The day of my departure, I was scheduled to leave very early in the morning, and to my surprise and delight, each student came to say goodbye. As each young woman hugged me, I couldn't help but notice their tears. As Jerry said goodbye, he shook my hand very firmly as tears rolled down his cheeks. And when it was long overdue to leave, 3 of the students spontaneously hopped into the Uber car and went to the airport to see me off. What I realized is that I had been modeling for the students, as well as myself, how to express emotion without embarrassment or shame. Sometimes throwing out those PowerPoints is a great idea. The power is not in the PowerPoints, but in the heart. Thank you.